Hey, folks, welcome to the Smack Drop Podcast. It's Kyle here. Joining us today, we've got, oh my God, a whole bunch of us. Mr. Colin, Vince, and the AJ Styles of what? Podcasting Sebastian. Jeez, I'm forgetting my own freaking lines here, man. What's up, you guys?
On Kyle,
What's the
Oh,
crack, everyone?
let's get right into it.
botched intro right out the gate. Oh my
It's
gosh.
okay. It's
So,
okay.
Hey, my list is so good, nobody even remember.
We'll tell them your
I think
list.
that's why we botched. It was because of your list. We're still shook.
I'm staring at the list and it's just messing me up. Anyways, you guys, if you're new to the show, we are a wrestling podcast. We mainly do recaps and reviews of WWE and AEW shows, pay-per-view predictions. We're doing a couple new things here today. Today, we are doing top 10 Hell in the Cell matches written by our very own Sebastian. You can at him at WrestlingFan_32 to tell him how much you agree or disagree with his list. And we're here to heckle him with anything we disagree with, too.
I think it should be like universally agreed with, though. I mean, it's,
Oh,
I'm gonna
I can't put my
send you.
stamp of approval until I hear it for myself.
I'm gonna send you so many hate tweets after this selection. So many hate tweets.
Now, you guys.
I know Colin's going to disagree. Colin's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make you look like 10 times worse than Seth Rollins felt during the week. That's what I'm gonna make you. You're gonna leave Twitter after I get mad. No, I'm only joking.
Listen,
I'm only
before
joking.
we start fighting, let's let these people know where they can find us. We are at Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio. Of course, we are on YouTube as well. And then you can always add us at Twitter because we do like to talk wrestling with each other, but we'd love to talk about wrestling with you guys. You can hit the channel up at, I don't even remember, Smack Draw Pod, myself at the Kai Tai Show, and then I'll let the other three guys fight over telling you where you can tweet them at.
At WrestlingFan_32.
And me on Twitter and all social media at SES Vince, and that's capital SES.
There you go.
And I'm Colin, the wrestling fan. You can catch me at Wrestling Chump on Twitter because I'm a chump for wrestling.
There you go, man. There we go. Done with the intro. Damn it, man, if that wasn't messy as hell. But I feel like that's going to be an omen for our episode. Because, boy, oh boy, man, we are here today to talk about the top 10 Hell in the Cell matches in honor of the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view taking place this Sunday. This list was created by our very own Sebastian. So if you don't agree with the list, don't blame us. Blame Seb.
I'm already blaming him.
Oh, man. So I guess let's get right into it, man. Kicking off our list, number 10, Hell in the Cells 2018, Jeff Hardy taking on Randy Orton. Right away, yeah, I think this is a top 10. I agree with you, Seb. I agree with you.
I mean,
And here's why I had to put it on the list. Since Hell in a Cell has went to this gimmick pay-per-view every year, it's really hard to come across as, in the PG era too, as brutal or vicious or really what the Hell in a Cell was designed for. And man, they did such a good job of that in this match. Like, I mean, not even just the screwdriver stuff, man.
I was about
The
to
stuff
say
they did-
screwdriver to the earlobe, bro. That's what I remember from this mostly.
I mean, Randy Orton had a piece of meat hanging from his leg. All right,
That's true. He did. Wait, what? How did that happen again?
I don't even know. They did so much crazy stuff in here. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's
But,
I
right.
think his thigh just got cut, and he had like a piece of skin hanging, like a flap of skin just hanging there.
I forgot all about that. The screwdriver in the earlobe kind of takes front and center for like what you remember the match for. But yeah, Randy's leg did get jacked up. Now that I think about it.
They even had a little spot where they put a ladder upside down and did a suplex and broke the stands on it. I mean, just really creative and innovative stuff I thought in this match. I really enjoyed it.
This was
Can we not forget about the most important and most creative part of the whole match? The red cell.
Oh, dude, I wish I could forget about that. Yeah, man. It looks
Forget
like a
about it
toy.
until Colin just brought it up. Oh
sorry,
gosh.
guys.
I hope
Just-
it's not red. I hope it's not red this Sunday.
It's going to
Just
be
for
red.
anybody listening, that
Dude,
was
it's
me being
gonna be
sarcastic,
red.
by the way.
Please.
Because they're advertising Mattel's new Hell in the Cell toy. Yeah, it's red like the damn. Oh my god, man! They did the same thing too with You guys remember when Braun Strowman destroyed, what was
Car.
it, like the sports car? And then
from like the one dude from like Saturday Night Live or something.
yeah, exactly. Colin Jost and Michael Che. They tried to gift him a car and he destroyed it. And then like 2 days later was Braun Strowman and the destructible car. Like they do this stuff, man, with Mattel in mind. I'm telling you, man. But anyways, yeah, that's a little bit of a sidetrack there.
No, man, this match was just vicious. Both of their bats were fucked. Just bruises everywhere on their bodies.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hear the belt shots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything in this match was just vicious, and I really enjoyed it.
This was during a period too when Randy Orton was showing like life and interest, like rejuvenation in his career, because like by this point he had that stigma where he was always phoning it in and it was boring old Randy Orton. But going into this feud, Randy had like a sense of I don't know, just like a viciousness and creativeness. Like you could tell when Randy is motivated opposed to when he's not. Like you can tell easily. And this was good, man. This was good. Kind of kicked off
And
like
the finish too, the heat that Randy got from it. If you remember,
that
Jeff
was so lame, man. Oh
well,
no,
just how they did it. The ref selling it the way he did. Randy Orton basically saying, "Fuck Jeff Hardy, I'm pinning him. I don't care what you say."
But
just
Randy,
really
he's
good.
hurt, Randy. Like, oh, come on, man. This is Hell in the Cell, dude. This is wrestling. That's what happens is they get hurt, okay? Like,
But that's exactly why I enjoyed the finish. Randy's pretty much saying, "Fuck that, I'm pinning him." I mean, it was just great.
Well, if you can go ahead and just ignore the whole he's hurt aspect, the finish makes sense in the way that it wasn't Randy beating Jeff. It was Jeff.
it's always Jeff
Too
beating
far.
Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always Jeff beating Jeff, which way to tell that the best way to end that match. I didn't have it initially in my top 10, but I was questioning whether I should add it or not for matches recently.
Yeah.
And I wasn't looking forward to the match at all going into it, and they turned me.
Yeah. All right.
Fully.
That leads us to number 9. New Day versus the Usos, Hell in the Cell 2017. The first tag team match to take place inside of Hell in a Cell. This one I agree with you. I agree this belongs in the top 10, not only for the fact that it is a unique Hell in the Cell match, meaning that we haven't seen anything like it, but we got to see a new side of these tag teams. Very, very refreshing and aggressiveness. The first thing that stands out to me is Big E. For being a big guy, he's always joyful and messing around in the ring. Dude, during this match, like the joke stopped. And we got a serious, angry Big E. And I remember that was the turning point for me. Like, someday, put the heavyweight strap on this guy. Because he is terrifying when he's angry. So, yeah, I totally agree with you, Seb, on this. Number 9, I can see that. I can see that for sure.
No, I agree that it should be top 10. It should be way higher.
Way higher.
Top
Okay.
5. For me, I think it's top 5 worthy. Wherever you want to put it, that's your decision. But I think it's top 5, maybe top 6 worthy. It's been that good. It's like there were so many spots in the match that were amazing and that stands out to you. Like it was Xavier Woods. They put handcuffs on him and they hung him from the turns, wailing on him with candlesticks. Like I've never seen that. There were so many inventive spots.
That was nuts.
Jey Uso got put in jail.
Yeah, Jimmy Uso got locked up
the
in Hell in the
candlestick.
Cell. Like,
Yeah.
so many great spots. And you add the fact that Kofi was outside watching his New Day members get destroyed and not being able to do anything about that. That added an extra layer to the match where like you're watching someone you care about, but you can't do anything about it. You know?
Except for
I think it's top.
in the candlestick cell.
I mean,
Kofi
besides
needs to
that,
yeah. Oh, guys, this was a great match. Like I have it just outside my top 5, Vince. I'll have to disagree with you there. I have it at number 6, but like these two teams in particular, after the whole Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys era, this feud is what we're gonna remember the tag generation for. New Day and Usos absolutely killing it, especially at this time. They opened the show with this. WWE knew it was going to get the crowd hot, and it did. It was match of the night, in my opinion, on this pay-per-view. They stole the show, as they did with the previous couple of pay-per-views. I'm not sure if you guys remember.
I was about to say, let's not forget that these guys have been feuding for like a year straight, stealing the show every time they had a big match, and it was always the same story. It was kind of like how we view NXT, was like, when's this gonna slow down? You know, like when, you know, and it just didn't, and it culminated at Hell in the Cell. It was great. And it also, in modern day, the Cell provided the original purpose. So for years, the Cell has been kind of a prop and almost like a holiday, but its original inception was to be a feud ender. And when these guys came out of it, even though Usos won, right? Or was it? Yeah, the Usos won, right?
Yeah, Usos won.
Yeah, they ended the feud. They came out, they showed respect to the New Day, and they said that, you know, they got their back from there going forward, man. So I think that's an incredible. You know, looking back, yeah, this is one of the much better Hell in the Cell matches for sure.
Definitely can't disagree with you guys. I mean, Seb, why'd you put it on the list? Because we've been talking, but it's your list.
Oh man, just very unique stuff, and the tag team element inside the cell, like Kyle said, is just stuff we haven't seen before. A few spots that popped out to me. There's a spot where they were going for the midnight hour. As Xavier jumped, the other Uso just launched a chair right in Xavier's face. You had Big E cinch a spear through the ropes into the cell. They even had what's the dong instrument, the big old dong that you see the monkey toy with, whatever it's called. Even using that.
I'm trying to remember, like, I'm trying to picture what you're talking about here.
I know exactly what it's talking about, but I cannot remember the name of that instrument.
I have no clue.
Well, they had that match. There's a spot where Big E did a Uranagi off the apron, and Xavier slid in there with a bat breaker. That was a really cool moment.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, I remember that too. That was so good.
Big E had the Uso in an electric chair, and Xavier did a suicide dive on top into the cell. Just really cool.
Damn, man. Like, what the fuck then? Why is this so low on your list? Just like,
right.
Damn, dude.
Okay, so you see why it should be like top 5, top 6.
Well, here we go. Well, no, that'll just help us help Sebastian explain why these next ones are much better, including number what? Eight. Survivor Series 2007, Batista taking on The Undertaker.
It's not even on my list.
No, not even close to my top 10.
Yeah, Seb, this is all you, bro. Sell us.
No, I really liked it, man. Like the Hell in a Cell's supposed to be, like you said earlier, it's supposed to end the feud.
But
Batista
it didn't.
and Undertaker.
This is where I'm gonna get hot. It didn't end the feud. It didn't end it. Like, it was a hokey, stupid finish. It's meant to be two guys just killing each other, and one person comes out on top. No, Edge gets involved. Finish. Oh, it's stupid. Like these two guys is meant to. Like, one person's meant to come out of this on top, but no, Edge has to get involved, and then we don't get a significant winner. And like, it's like these two guys had been going at it for a good year before this, and I don't know, they just ruined it. They ruined the whole story. This is not top 10.
No, I enjoyed it. Edge being the camera guy in there for 40 minutes or whatever, you know, just not giving it away. I thought that was cool. The chair to Batista's throat was ruthless. The old school counter into the spine buster was a nice spot. Batista ramming the steps to Undertaker's head repeatedly was a nice little visual of just how brutal these guys were. The last 5 minutes, man, was insane. The last ride, kick out, choke slam, kick out, Batista bomb through a table, kick out, tombstone, kick out, tombstone into the steps, and then, like Colin says, Edge making a return in a very creative way. Just like I said, been in there for 30 minutes, never gave it away one bit, and came in and attacked Undertaker. Batista gets the win. Just a really good match, I thought.
I'll give you it's very, very, very creative, and I love the Edge aspect. If it wasn't an end of a feud match, don't do it at the end of a feud. Like, let these two guys kill each other and let one person come out on top. That's the way a feud should end. It shouldn't have this hokey finish, and that ruined it for me. That's what ruined the match. That's what ruined the feud, and I'm done with that match.
About the match is that my favorite part was the Edge spot, and that's telling. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I wasn't like the biggest Batista guy in the early 2000s. It wasn't until he came back, which I actually like appreciated him like a little bit more, but I didn't appreciate him back then. I didn't really enjoy his feud with Undertaker, so like I didn't really care for the match. Like I said, Edge being like cameraman throughout the entire match and not knowing was the best part of the match for me, which didn't involve the two guys in the match. So for me, that kind of disqualifies it for top 10.
Yeah, and personally speaking, for me, there was a gap, not quite as large as Rob's, like notorious Attitude Era to 2019, but there was a gap of wrestling that I missed that I had just, for whatever reason, I wasn't watching anymore. And unfortunately, yeah, this match was one of the ones that I missed. I can say, personally speaking, only 2 of your top 10, Seb, are matches that I missed. So that's why I'm not really have much on it. But on the lighter side, I think Sebastian can win you guys over with the next pick. So, Seb, I'll let you introduce your next one.
Number 7, Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell, 2015.
Hot damn, yes.
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 This is up there, man. This was a effing fight, dude. And a feud ender. Man.
Wait, this is number 7, right?
Yes. This is how a feud ends. This is not a feud end.
This is my number 7 too.
There you go.
It's exactly number 7 for me.
This was, of course, rounding out the trilogy between Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Brock originally got the first win at WrestleMania 33, ending Undertaker's streak. They had a follow-up match. I can't remember at what pay-per-view, but there was a hokey finish where during a match between Brock and Undertaker, they prematurely rang the bell, and then Undertaker was able to secure Hell's Gate after delivering a low blow and get Brock Lesnar to pass out after him giving him the finger, which I still to this day love the visual of that. Brock refusing to tap, giving Taker the finger, and just passing the fuck out. And then it culminated with this Hell in the Cell match in 2015. And boy, oh boy, man, these guys brought it. This is arguably one of Undertaker's last great singles matches. I hate to put it out there like that. But it really is, man. It really is.
Yeah, I agree with that, honestly. This match was just brutal, man. And 2015, I mean, you went through the Hell in a Cell pay-per-views, 2011, I think is when it started on up.
I think it was like, I want to say it was like 08 to somewhere in 10.
Oh, was it?
I want to say it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. I could be wrong, though.
But, this was the first real great Hell in a Cell match that I remember from the pay-per-view era. Unless anybody else can remind or bring my memory here.
I'm looking it up currently while you guys are talking.
Can anybody else think of a really good one? Just
yeah, like any anecdotes, you guys? Come on now.
Anybody?
The one thing that like stands out for me in the match that I vividly remember is like they ripped off like the padding from the ring, and it was like just like the 2x4s, like the wood on the ring, and they were actually wrestling on that. So that's what stood it out for me, because I knew I wanted to put Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker on my list. I just wasn't sure which one to choose from between this match or their O2 match. But this match, just like the fact that Undertaker was so old, and it, like you were saying, Kyle, it was one of his like last great matches. And a lot of people weren't really into it, but me personally, I loved it from start to finish. It ended a feud. Taker versus Brock Lesnar just fucking killed it that night.
Yeah, it took Brock, I think, 3 F5s to put Taker away finally, with the last one being on the exposed mat, like you said, where they tore the mat up and it was just the wood underneath. That was one of the first times that WWE had pulled off that spot. They've pulled it off once or twice since then. I remember the street fight between Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. They pulled off that spot again as well. But yeah,
I love seeing the padding being ripped up, because
Yeah.
like that's something that WWE always tries to shy away from. They don't like to show the pad underneath the mat, because like it just takes away from the whole, like, oh, it's a stiff ring, where it's not, like. But yeah, it was very, very inventive for them to do that. But like, yeah, this is how you end the feud with these guys. It was brutal, and the one thing that I actually remember from the match is the blood.
Yeah, man.
Both guys got colour in this, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think afterwards the reports start coming out that they weren't supposed to get colour. Neither of
Vince
them,
was
and the
there.
two of them, and the two of them were in shit because of it. So the two of them went into it for themselves and kind of got colour themselves. They obviously had an agreement with each other beforehand, but I remember there was a lot of blood in this match, and Vince was pissed because of it afterwards. But it did add to the match.
yeah. I just
Would
like
have
that.
added way more if the cell had color too. If that cell was red, that would have made the match way better.
Yeah. So the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view was what I said. It was 09. So this year will mark the 10th anniversary since Hell in the Cell became a pay-per-view. Jesus, man,
Nice.
time flies, man. Yeah, it was the first pay-per-view. It was Degeneration X, Shawn Michaels and Triple H taking on the Legacy, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase. Oh boy,
Yeah,
man!
I remember that.
2 of the 4 guys here would go on to create like some world-renowned wrestling promotions. It's crazy to think 50% of the participants be leading the world in wrestling right now. But that's crazy, because then if that's a tornado tag match, then the Usos and New Day weren't the first tag team Hell in a Cell match.
It was the first championship. That was what they built it as.
Oh, okay,
build it
got you.
as.
Yeah, the caveat,
Oh,
the first
okay.
championship one. Okay, got you. Makes sense now.
Because if you remember, they also had Degeneration X versus McMahon's and Big Show.
No, that's a handicap match. Completely different match.
Completely different, my friend.
Completely different.
Good way
Completely
to
That
spin
shit
it.
down. Oh man. Number 6, Edge versus Undertaker, SummerSlam 2008. The second of the 2 matches on the list that personally I didn't see. So I'll let you guys take over this segment.
I think the best part, like if you guys remember, like the one thing I remember from it and agree was after the match, he choke slams Edge straight to hell, like the image of like Edge just
that's
lighting
where
up
that
in
gift
flame.
came from. Yeah, okay, I know the gift.
That's where that was from. Yeah,
Okay.
so like that's the one thing that stands like in my image, and if I'm not leading up to it, was Edge was like still like him and Vicky were like the heel couple authority figure in SmackDown, and they somehow were able to like get Undertaker off of SmackDown television. They basically like just got rid of him from WWE, and Edge cheated on Vicky, which was
with
the wedding
Alicia
planner.
Fox.
Yeah, so
my
that's some
gosh.
context for you. So he got caught making out with Alicia Fox. Vicky was livid and booked this match against Edge and Undertaker. And
Holla,
that's
holla,
how
player,
the
player.
setup
You
was.
about to go one-on-one with the Undertaker.
With the Undertaker. I mean, I could be complete, but did I miss anything, Seb, or like, am I right on the money on it?
Well, I actually didn't remember this match. I actually, like Kyle said earlier, went for a little stretch, and this was a stretch. This is the only match I had to go back just to get clarification on. So I don't know any of the build. Colin, do you? Is that right for the? I do.
As far as I remember, it was Vicky's payback to kind of get Edge into the cell with Undertaker. But the two things that I kind of remember for this match, one is that sending Edge to hell, but the second is another inventive way of how to get out of the cell, which is completely against the premise of the cell, because the cell is to keep them in.
Yep.
But how they got out of the cell was a spear through the side panel. So Edge speared the Undertaker through the side panel at the announce desk, and the panel broke, and that's how they spilled out of the cell. And then that just caused absolute carnage outside, because like the spears through tables and all after that, and it was just mayhem after that before they got back in on the outside. Like, I think did the two tables get put through?
I believe so. Oh, it was just a bunch of stuff.
One of my favorite parts of this match, though, was the Hell in a Cell being Undertaker's playground, and the way that Edge was able to kind of turn this into a TLC match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that part. Edge just making it his type of match. A few spots that came out, like I said, the story. The spear into the steps while Edge was sitting, that was kind of cool. Edge off the top of the ladder with a chair drop, putting Taker for a table, the announce table spot, the sale spot. Edge using the camera as a callback to kind of start this between Batista and Taker.
Yeah, didn't he also do the concerto as well? Did Undertaker do the concerto to Edge?
Yeah,
is what Edge
I remember that move was
previously
devastating back in the day.
Edge was choke slammed off the top rope for two outside tables. Taker hit a fucking spear, a hard spear in this match. And then the finish, like you said, Taker absolutely destroyed.
You cut out there for a minute, Seb. Go ahead. Yeah, go with that again. You cut out there for a moment.
The Undertaker absolutely destroyed the camera on Edge's head. Nice little callback, like I said, to Batista and Taker, then the concerto, and then the tombstone.
Yeah, that was the finish of the match, and then like Taker was leaving us, leaving the match.
He was on the way out, and he saw that he was still moving, didn't he? And then went back.
Yeah, he saw that he was, and that pissed him off. He's like, "Oh, you're still moving."
God forbid, you're still alive.
Shit.
Oh no, can't have that.
He went back, and it was an interesting way because they were trying to write him off of storyline wise. I think he had an injury at the time, or something was coming up with him, and he had to be off of TV. So the way they wrote him off was literally sending him to hell.
Yeah, I mean that's it's funny. That's the only part of the match I saw. Okay, man. Now here's a match that everybody's seen. Number 5. The most controversial take. No, not the most. But boy, number 5.
It probably is.
Taker versus HBK Bad Blood 97, the original? You got it at number 5, Seb? Oh my God.
I'm out. I'm gone.
Get out of here.
Oh my God.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Number 5, son. Holy. This is what Hell in the Cell was created for, man. Because HBK has been, trying to get away from Taker in these feuds, and so they created the Cell. Its inception was to keep, HBK locked in this cage with this monster. And and it worked. It took the cameraman getting injured before the door was open and HBK could get outside. And then we got that classic case of like, oh, I'm going to climb the tree because the bear can't climb the tree. And all of a sudden the bear climbs the tree and they're fighting on top of the cell. Oh my God, man. I'm telling you, this was nuts. The only thing crazier than this is how the fuck do you have it at number 5, man? Seb,
for real,
defend
dude,
yourself, man.
Okay. For one,
he can't
Colin
justify it.
Colin mentioned earlier how interference kind of ruined one. Kane kind of came out and interfered in this. So just saying that's a fair point.
That's a
No.
downside. The
Also-
legendary Hall
also-
of Fame career kicked off
This-
this match.
This wasn't the end of a feud. This was the
Yeah.
middle of two feuds. Completely
But-
different dynamic.
but
They weren't
to me-
killing each
Remember
other for a
going
year.
into it, Seb, is that they were building up Taker versus Kane, the reveal of Kane, and it slowly incorporated HBK into that feud. So not only was Undertaker having to deal with Shawn Michaels and DX and their antics, but he also had Paul Bearer threatening him with Kane showing up. So it was a culmination of all of that and in one.
And on the
Kane
flip
was already
side-
involved.
Well, some of that though, I don't think a Hell in a Cell should be in the middle of a feud between two other guys. That's one of my problems. I just didn't think the match was brutal enough, man. I mean, they had some chair stuff, and of course, Michael's falling off kind of halfway at the cell or whatever. The pile driver on the steps. There was a little pile driver on the steps. But man, when I think Hell in a Cell, I think of two guys that's hated each other for a long time, want to finish it, and just go out there and beat each other up with everything they can find. This match for me was kind of too slow paced.
But this was the first, kind of like the first ladder match, man. It wasn't the most.
Yeah,
Did you just say slow paced?
I thought it was pretty slow.
Oh
my
my god,
dude.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Right, sorry. Before I get started, people listening out there, please send your hate tweets to @WrestlingFan_32.
This is the first time we've had to say that. Normally it's like at 2 words can't see me, but no, this time send them at Sebastian.
I have this at number 1. This is my favorite Hell in a Cell match.
This is always top
me and
3. This is always top 3. Most of the time, top
Easily.
2. Yeah.
Easily, and I can understand how other people can put it at 2 and 3. I can completely understand it. But 5 is insult.
Oh my
It's an insult. This match was
Still arguing.
poetry. This was the golden era of storytelling. I just said a Hell in a Cell match shouldn't be in the middle of a story. This was gold. It was in the middle of Shawn and Brett. The whole Kane thing was being muted for about 6 months. You have SummerSlam before, where Michaels is the referee between Undertaker and Brett. Michaels hits Undertaker with the chair. He has to count the win for Brett, and then they go into what was the one after that? I can't even remember the pay-per-view after that. It ended in a no contest. And then they went into the Cell, and that's the whole thing. It was a number 1 contenders match for the WWF Championship at the time. And what it led to then was Montreal Survivor Series 97. This is gold. This is the golden era, and this is right slap bang in the middle of everything. Storytelling at its finest. It's poetry. I don't know how you can have this at 5.
Dude,
It kills me.
I just feel like
Colin adds
And
so
it-
much culture to his point of view, and it just Seth, you just sound so bad.
All
And,
right,
it might be
so-
where I'm so young and I didn't really live for the Attitude Era, and I don't have that nostalgia like other people. I don't know.
Sebastian, we're the same age, and I have it at number 2. Stop it. Don't use the age cap as an excuse. No, we're the same age, my man.
I'm just saying. I mean, not the
Okay.
there, man.
So, if this is number 5, what is better at number 4?
Number 4, Taker versus Foley, King of the Ring 98. Gotta say, I agree with the argument. Not saying I agree with the position, but I've
I
always
have it the
put
exact same position.
I've always
have the
put
exact-
Bad Blood and the King of the Ring match 1A, 1B. You can argue against both of them because where Bad Blood was the inception and the first match and set the bar, dude, Taker and Foley easily is the most memorable not King of the Ring, Hell in the Cell match you've ever seen. This is the one where Foley, Mrs. Foley's baby boy gets tossed off the cell through a table, stretchered off, comes back, climbs the cell just to get choke slammed through the cell again. Got the infamous tooth in the nose picture. He gets choke slammed, I think, onto some thumbtacks. Boy, oh boy. This is what made people look at Mick Foley and go, what the fuck? Seriously, like, this dude is unreal. And WWE hasn't even come close to replicating this match since that day. Not even close. You're lucky to get 50% the spot value to this day.
Vince McMahon himself told
Foley,
Mick Foley, I appreciate everything you did, but please never do that again.
Never again. Yeah, exactly.
Please.
There was only one of those spots were planned, and that was the choke slam through the top of the set. Foley was never meant to go off the top of that cell.
That was called on the spot. Foley told Taker to throw
Foley,
him.
he says, throw me, and Undertaker goes, okay.
Sure.
Like, Taker doesn't even think about it. Like, oh, hang on, and I just throw this guy 20 foot off the top of the cell. Like, he didn't even take a beat. Like, it's crazy.
Perfect, man. Oh my god, dude. Yeah. So if anybody's ever watched a WWF like clip ever in their life, they've seen clips of this match. You've
seen like maybe like 5 or 10 of these clips from this match.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I'm just gonna throw out a bit of unpopular opinion here. The match was shit. Although it is the most iconic and has probably 3 of the best spots ever in a Hell in a Cell, and it is top of the must-see Hell in a Cell matches. The actual match, and when I rate it on matches, what actually happened in the ring, that 5-minute match that they had was terrible.
Colin. Go fuck yourself. All right.
All right. So let me play devil's advocate here and say with Colin that in terms of in-ring product, it wasn't like the most technical match, but in terms of like wow moments, spot heavy, it was really great in that department. But like they didn't tell an in-ring technician like. Technical
sorry,
classic
Dave.
in there. There was no Bret Hart match.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't get the most technical submission reversals.
In fairness, though, we'll give.
That's like the worst insult you can give me.
I'll give Foley the benefit of the doubt. He went off the top of the cell through the table, and then he went through the cell onto the hard.
Could you imagine being
as
King
well?
and JR at the table when that shit happened?
Oh my god!
Completely unplayed.
I'd be gone. I'd just run up. I'd just Bailey up the ramp. I'd be gone.
Yes. That shit. Oh man, I mean, I'm in agreement. I have it at my number 4 as well. Like that's 2 matches so far that me and Seb have agreed on exactly on the money. I think it's right on the money. I think top 5 is justified. I don't think it's top 3 worthy because, like I was telling me and Colin were saying, in terms of like the story that was being told in the ring, in terms of the actual in-ring action, it didn't live up to like other matches.
Yeah, I went back and watched it about a year or 2 ago, and I did remember coming away from watching it being like, okay, yeah, there really wasn't a match. This was just kind of like a one-sided beatdown that resulted in a dude almost dying. But it yeah. So I get that. We'll go ahead. We'll go to number 3. Cactus Jack versus Triple H. No Way Out 2000. If Cactus Jack loses, he retires. Yeah, man.
He came back at WrestleMania.
Like 4 weeks later. Yeah, like
I was
4
literally
weeks
just
later.
about to say that.
Yeah, he retired for all of a month.
But he didn't come back as
as
Jack.
Yeah. Cactus Jack retired. That's the benefit of having 4 personas. You get 4 retirements.
Then again, Cactus did come back to face Randy, right?
Yeah, no, I know. It's just all over the place. Mick Foley really did kick off that whole like retirements aren't real thing.
Did Terry Funk not retire like 20 times before that though?
But Mick Foley was way more in the spotlight than Terry Funk ever was, unfortunately. But you're right. Yeah, I think Terry Funk just had a retirement match like last week, and I think he's scheduled for another one next month. So
I thought all of his matches were retirement matches now.
Pretty much. That is it, babe.
Not Ric Flair back in the day.
They're like different incarnations of Terry Funk. That's what that is. It's like different versions of Terry Funk. He has like multiple personalities.
Yeah,
and he's all slowly retiring them all one by one.
But in this match, we kind of had a concerto with the steps. Early in the match, busted Cactus open. Cactus had the elbow drop with a chair on the outside. getting out of the cage again in a creative way. Catches just threw steps out of his way and put a hole for the cage. The barbed wire outside when he dropped the barbed wire 2x4 and held it up, man, there was blood all over his arm. I thought that was a nice visual.
That barbed wire 2x4, that's bringing back memories. I love that weapon. Yeah, that was his stable.
Foley was climbing up on top, and then Triple H just raked his face with the 2x4 and threw him up. Well, not threw him off, but kind of like stepped on his hands, made him fall through an announce table. They put the 2x4 on fire on top and used it, and then of course Foley going for the Hell in a Cell, and then through the ring.
Yeah.
And then Triple H came down there and pedigreed him for the 1-2-3.
Yeah, I remember the flaming 2x4, right? Or was it never on fire? My memory says it was on fire.
Yeah, it was on fire.
Yeah.
It was on fire.
Okay.
It was on fire.
That's what made him go through the cell, wasn't it? He was going to pile drive Triple H onto the flaming 2x4 on top, and he backdropped him instead.
Yeah.
And there's also a pile driver. There's also a pile driver for the announce table on the outside as well. This match had just a little bit of everything. It was brutal. That's
It
what Hell in a Cell
was
should
mean,
be.
man. It was mean, and easily one of the most memorable Hell in the Cell matches.
Yeah, that's what I remember about this. Like the whole feud, like the two guys just wanted to kill each other. That was the whole premise of the two guys. Even going back to that Royal Rumble match as well, they wanted to kill each other, and brought it into Hell in a Cell. Obviously, the career on the line.
Yeah, I really wish that Mick Foley had gotten the better hand on some of the occasions, but it really felt like Triple H. Whenever Triple H and Mick Foley cross paths, it was always Triple H coming out on top. Like Mick Foley, I to my memory, didn't really have any big moments going over on Triple H.
Hey, didn't he win the title off of Triple H?
Was that the Raw when he won on Raw?
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't that Triple H? No, or was it DX that helped him and he won it off of Rock?
I think he won it off of Rock.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, if you go just as recently, he was GM of Raw, and stuck up to Stephanie McMahon, and then just got pedigreed by Triple H, and then that was it for Mick Foley, unfortunately. Our wrestling Santa Claus, God rest his soul. Number 2. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting the good stuff. The end of the era, Triple H versus The Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as guest referee. WrestleMania 28. This match I credit for getting me to be a big wrestling fan again. I originally was brought back to wrestling with the allure of Rock versus Cena. That's kind of what got me back into it when I took my hiatus. This match reminded me why I loved wrestling. This is my personal number 1 Hell in the Cell match. And I could go off forever. I'll just give my couple beats. Man, the false finishes, the storytelling, the emotion of these guys, both during and after the match. Everything about this, man, is great. And it shows that you don't need to have car crash entertainment to tell a good story in professional wrestling, and that's what you got out of this. That's why I loved it so much, man. I'll let you guys go, but damn, this is a good pick, man.
Honestly, it's my number 1 as well. I was going back and forth between this one and Bad Blood, Bad Blood match, the original Hell in a Cell match between HBK and Undertaker, but I think the story that was being told here, like, it's basically almost like a 4-year story. HBK Undertaker number 1, then HBK Undertaker number 2, where he retires HBK. Then Triple H decides, no, I'm going to be the one that ends your streak. He fails again. So this the second attempt for Triple H, but this time also Shawn Michaels is involved. So you don't know the story. The story leading up was like, is Shawn Michaels going to side with his friend and end the streak and help him end the streak for him? Or is he going to be petty and cost Triple H the match because he doesn't want Triple H to be the one to say that he broke the streak when he couldn't? So it had a lot of story going into it. You didn't know who was going to walk away the winner.
Yeah, I mean, and it really did ultimately show HBK siding with Triple H. Undertaker kicked out of not just a pedigree, but a Sweet Chin Music followed up by a pedigree, and you had to take a kick out, man. And I just remember that moment, just standing up, going, "What the fuck, man?" And I couldn't believe it. Like, I was fully, like, hook, line, and sinker into this match. I really was, man. And then the visual after, Triple H being completely exhausted in the corner, got nothing left, holding on to that sledgehammer. Undertaker just taking the sledgehammer from him. Triple H being defiant, telling Taker to suck it before Taker gives him the tombstone for the win. And then ultimately, all three of the men embracing, walking up the ramp together. And also JR. JR on commentary. JR had not been commentating for the longest time. Yeah, man, for me, this was just picture perfect. To this day, I haven't had a match story-wise hit me, but that's probably because of nostalgia. I'm not saying there aren't great stories that haven't taken place. To me, it's just this one personally lined up with me in my wrestling history. But yeah,
I
damn.
honestly really hope that was Taker's last match. It should have really been an era. Because if you look at it from after that, the only matches you can argue that he's had better or like maybe close, not even better, close to this level was maybe Punk versus Taker Mania 29 and the Hell in a Cell match he had with Brock Lesnar. After that, he hasn't had any good matches since then. It's all been downhill, and I was really hyped up for him versus Cena, and that turned out to be a 2-minute squash.
It was a
and
joke,
like
man.
See, I would have liked it if it happened like before, like he actually lost the streak or something. I don't know. Personally, I really enjoyed it. Like you said, Kyle, it had a lot of nostalgia. JR being back was a big thing for me, even though like right now I can't stand the guy on commentary. But back then I really enjoyed him. And Triple H, Undertaker, the image of all three of them just hugging each other at the top of the stage, really signifying that the Attitude Era is over. The era is over. After that, Shawn Michaels should have never came back out of retirement. Triple H maybe wrestled a match here and there, but that honestly was better, like the last great Undertaker match. And for me, Triple H, I liked them, but I was never like his matches. And I think for me, that's the best Triple H match he's ever had.
Well, hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves now. We still have the number one Hell in the Cell match.
Now, if you don't remember this match or you missed this match, that's one thing. But just to throw this out here,
I'm already pissed off.
I went and found other people's rankings, and I'm just gonna say this: Walt Culture has it at 3. Bleacher Report article had it at number 1. Dana Geek has it at 4.
And I know where you're going with it.
And 7. The Comeback has it at 5. Sportskeeda has it at 5. New Beats 5. Between Ropes at 3.
Can I stop you there?
Batista and Triple H.
Oh, no.
Vengeance 05. Better than End of the Era. Cactus Jack, Triple H. Taker Foley, King of the Ring. Taker, HBK, Bad Blood. It's Batista in the greatest Hell in the Cell match of all time, folks.
I love this match. It was everything I believe Hell in a Cell should be. It was absolutely brutal. Everything they did, they hit hard. They had barbed wire, steel chairs. I mean, just everything they did was brutal. And it was the end of a feud. And don't get me wrong, I like when guys go out to sell and, create these memorable spots. But I have a thing for Hell in a Cell. It stays inside the cell and finishes a feud that way. I just really, really enjoyed it. JR was phenomenal in this match. I thought this match was absolutely insane.
Okay, so the only good thing I can say about that is that you didn't put Jericho versus Triple H number 1.
Yeah, I remember that one.
But because I didn't really like that match. I'm not gonna say hate because hate is a strong word. I disliked the match. I didn't enjoy it. Batista versus Triple H was put in my top 10, but it wasn't in my top 10. the simple fact that you have it top 5 is really like irking me right now. The fact that you have it top 3 and the fact that you have it number 1.
dude.
No, it is not number 1.
These
Worst
guys,
list.
these guys brought out the chain and beat the fuck out of each other with the chain. The visual of Triple H choking Batista with it over the top rope. That's what I want to see in Hell in a Cell. The steel chair, barbed wire, the DDT on it, power slam on it. JR calling the shit out of it when Batista kicked out of the sledgehammer shot. And man, the finishing sequence when Triple H was holding the hammer up, about to knock the hell out of Batista, but nope, Batista bomb. 1, 2, 3, over.
Over, son. Actually, I lied earlier. I forgot this was. I never saw this match. I never saw this one.
And that's one thing. If you haven't seen the match or don't remember a lot of it, that's one thing. I
will. I'm
but
gonna
go back and watch it.
Honestly, before bed tonight, I am gonna go watch this because I need to have some credibility when I call you a dumbass tomorrow. Okay? There's no way this is number 1, man. No way.
Number
Fantastic.
1, dude. It is not number 1.
Even Dave Meltzer, and I hate Dave Meltzer, and I think he discredits a lot of
God.
WWE. It should be rated out. He even had it like 4.75, and I remember back in the day.
Where's
Like,
Colin
that was
on
insane.
this? Where's Colin?
Colin
Fuck.
has
Seb, fuck you. Just like fuck Dave Meltzer, fuck Waffle. Like fucking number 1, Batista
don't
and
get
Triple
me
H.
wrong. I hate
Like,
Dave too, but it just blew my mind back in the day. I remember was really curious.
Listen, it was a good match. Yeah, it was a good match. Yeah, they beat the shit out of each other. It's not number
That's
1.
what Hell in a Cell should be, dude.
No, it's
Brutal.
not.
End of the
Yeah,
feud.
yeah, it should be brutal, and this match doesn't even make top 10. I'm
No.
done.
Number
God damn
one.
I'm just gonna annoy myself, and I'm just gonna start.
You know why I ended the feud, Seb? Still went to SmackDown a couple weeks after that.
Oh,
That's
my
better,
God.
dude. Oh, and also the story of Triple H. This has been his first loss in Hell Cell after being 4-0.
Oh my
That added a
gosh!
lot to it.
No.
No, he just great shit.
At
It's not
Cleveland
the
Chelsea,
Undertaker streak, dude. 4-0.
It's not.
No, I was going a little farther than that.
Oh man, he said it was like the
I
Undertaker's
don't
WrestleMania
have
streak.
anything nice to say about this match or you right now or this list. I'm just gonna stay quiet and yeah.
Number 1, Vengeance 05, ladies
You
and
know
gentlemen.
what?
How you know
about-
this match is shit? How you know this match is shit? Triple H has that stupid mustache. And
I know the pictures you're talking about. Yes, because he wanted to be
he has
like
that stupid
Motorhead.
mustache that,
Oh my
that doesn't have anything on the chin. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
What do you call it? It's a handlebar mustache that goes up to the sideburns.
Oh
He has
my
a stupid
God.
mustache. And number 2, Batista's in it. Batista isn't in a top 10
Oh.
match ever. Look, never mind.
Ever. He's-
Number 1.
Ever.
No.
None of his matches are top 10.
How
Like,
about-
Number 1.
Sebastian,
I'm-
you're the most outspoken one on the show tonight. How about you do our outro, bro?
Watch the match. Number 1. We are number 1.
Yeah.
Vengeance 05.
Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to hit us up at the Smack Drop Pod, myself at the Kaitai Show. I'll let these guys tell you where you can find them.
Just send
you
your
can find me.
tweets. Just send your tweets. Tell me how much you appreciate and agree with my list at WrestleFan_32.
You can find me at STSVince on Twitter, and he does not speak for me or the Smack Rock Pod. This is his list and his list only.
If you hate this list as much as I did, send me your tweets. Send your tweets to me at Wrestling Chump. I will send them on to Sebastian. I'll DM him to them. Like I will constantly just bomb